Jeff Bezos. To many, he's divisive, but to everyone, he's undeniably successful. And here's his advice to you.
So sometimes intuition and data align, and that makes it easy to make decisions. But oftentimes the data and the anecdotal evidence or the intuition are misaligned.
Yeah.
How do you sort of navigate that, and what's your instinct propel you to do in those cases?
Well, there are a couple, it's a very interesting question, and sometimes, you know, look, first of all, if you're running any organization of any scale whatsoever, it is essential to have data and to rely on data.
Of course.
If you're not, that's so basic and so fundamental. But the data doesn't tell you anything, everything. It doesn't tell you everything. And so, if, for example, it often doesn't tell you about changes or things that you're missing or things that you're not measuring properly. And so that's where anecdotes come into play. And that's where intuition and gut instinct and heart come into play. And a lot of those things are new. You know, the biggest things that we've done at Amazon, and it's going to be true in space for Blue Origin as well, it's true in AI, a lot of them come from instinct and hunches. Nobody, if you take Echo and Alexa, which has been a fantastically successful product for us, it's installed in hundreds of millions of endpoints, nobody was asking for a black cylinder that's always on, that you can talk to, and apps for music, and to turn your lights on and off and set timers. And we didn't know if people would want that. You just have to kind of use your intuition. AWS, again, nobody was asking for that. We had to use our intuition. Third-party marketplace. You know, we've been working on doing cloud computing in space at Blue Origin, because cloud, you know, there's a lot. You get 8 times as much solar power per unit of area in space as you do on Earth. And so, in principle, you could make data centers in space that would be very efficient. So that's something that, you know, Blue Origin is working on. A lot of other companies are working on that. But that's not something you can be sure is going to work. You don't know what launch costs are going to be and other things. So technically it works, but there's a lot of mysteries about it too. And this is, I think, when you're talking about invention, you have to be a wanderer. You have to wander, because, you know, if you're not wandering, you're going in a straight line. That means you know where you're going. And a lot of the most important discoveries and most important inventions don't come from knowing where you're going.
Let's transition a little bit to Blue Origin. You were just talking about this impending launch.
Yeah.
All the people that are working together, all the pressure, the expenses, et cetera. Why is space exploration so important to you?
Well, for me, there's a bunch of reasons. For, you know, but literally since I was a kid, literally a kid here in Miami, I have been thinking that ultimately, if we want to keep growing our civilization and using more energy per person and so on, we're eventually going to have to move all of our heavy industry off Earth. And that will happen. I know it sounds a little fantastical. Maybe it sounds like science fiction to some degree. But it will happen. I don't know how soon it will happen. It's a job that I won't finish. Probably my children's children won't finish. You know, this is something that multiple generations will work on. But it will happen. And you know, I just mentioned one of the first steps there is that, you know, we already put a lot of communications in space. We can start to build factories in space. We can start to build data centers in space. We will ultimately get the materials, not even from Earth, but get the materials from the moon and near-Earth objects and asteroids. We have unlimited energy in space and unlimited material resources in space. And this planet is so beautiful and so unusual. This is the one that we're going to want to protect. There's no plan B. We have spent...
Not yet, at least.
We've sent robotic probes to every planet. This is the good one.
Listen, it sounds fantastical, but so did this conference to many people.
Yes, a lot of things that we have today sound fantastical. Go back in time 100 years and show somebody your iPhone.
Very fantastical. They'll freak out. So here's the inevitable pivot. AI. Everybody's talking about it. You can't have a conversation without it. You can't even give a key to the city, apparently.
And rightly so, by the way.
Right. What about AI is exciting you? You got to see things that probably nobody else gets to see. What's
We're
exciting?
heavily involved in AI. I spend a lot of time at Amazon and at Blue Origin, and with some startup companies that I'm investing in. It is everything it's cracked up to be. Investors right now are investing in everything, the good ideas, the bad ideas. But the fundamentals of what are happening are very powerful, and it will impact every industry, and it will make every industry more productive. You'll see, medicine will, diagnosis will get better, so will drug discovery get better. But literally, you can go through every single industry, and every manufacturing industry, everything is going to get better. In Miami should have a AI application that reads your building permit for a new house or a new building, and it should give you a yes or a no in 10 seconds. And if the answer is if the answer is no, it should tell you the 6 things you have to change to get a yes. And why does it take months and months and months to get a building permit? It doesn't make any sense.
Jeff admits that Amazon's biggest wins came from gut instinct and not data. Bezos said Echo and Alexa were based on hunches, not customer requests. And this is coming from the same guy who famously made Amazon employees back up every decision with data. He built a culture where you couldn't get a meeting without a 6-page memo full of numbers. And now he's sitting here saying some of the biggest products Amazon ever made, Alexa, AWS, third-party marketplace, all came out of feeling and hoping people would want them. As he said, nobody asked for a black cylinder that listens to you all the time. That sounds creepy when you say it out loud, but Jeff pushed it through anyway because he had a hunch. That's a massive bet. You're spending hundreds of millions developing hardware, building voice recognition systems, negotiating with music services, all before you know if anyone will buy it. And to be fair, it worked. Alexa is in hundreds of millions of homes now. The AWS story is even crazier. Amazon was an online bookstore that decided to become an infrastructure company renting out computer servers. Imagine pitching that to investors. We sell books, but we think our real future is in data centers. That's not a particularly logical extension, but Jeff saw that Amazon had to build massive computing infrastructure to handle holiday shopping spikes and figured other companies probably needed the same thing. What makes this interesting is the tension Bezos is describing. He's not saying data is useless, he's saying data tells you about the past and the present, but it can't tell you about the things that don't exist yet. Data would have told him nobody wanted a voice assistant because nobody was searching for one. Data would have said cloud computing was a distraction from Amazon's core retail business. Jeff's saying invention requires not knowing where you're going. If you know exactly where you're going, you're just optimizing something that already exists. Real breakthroughs come from exploring without a clear destination. This connects to what he's doing with Blue Origin. Space manufacturing isn't something anyone asked for. There's no customer demand saying we need factories in orbit. But Jeff is betting that once you get materials from the moon and asteroids and you have unlimited solar power in space, it becomes cheaper to manufacture certain things off Earth. That's a decades-long bet that won't fully pay off in his lifetime. But when Jeff shifts to talking about things real AI and real-world impacts, he picks an example that thinks how he thinks about change. The building permit joke isn't really about permits. Jeff mentioned permits taking months when AI could handle it in seconds. He's using it as an example for thousands of other processes where humans spend their days checking boxes against written rules. Insurance claims, loan applications, medical billing codes, tax returns, legal contract reviews, compliance checks. Think about how many jobs exist solely because someone has to verify that paperwork matches a set of documented requirements. That's not creative work, that's not problem solving, that's a human being used as a very expensive, very slow computer, and Jeff's saying that's crazy in the year 2025. The gap between 5% formal adoption and 28% of workers secretly using AI tells the whole story. Workers already figured out that AI can handle the rule-checking parts of their jobs. They're using ChatGPT to draft responses to standard emails, review contracts for missing clauses, format reports, summarize meeting notes, all the stuff where you're following a template or checking against known criteria. Companies are moving slower because they're worried about accuracy, liability, and losing control. But Jeff is coming at this from a different angle. At Amazon, he taught everyone to think about undifferentiated heavy lifting. work that has to get done but doesn't make you special. Checking if a building planning meets fire codes is undifferentiated heavy lifting. Nobody wins by having the world's best building planner reviewer. You win by getting through that step faster so people could build things. This connects back to Jeff's wanderer philosophy. He wants human wandering and exploring and inventing, but you can't wander if you're buried in paperwork and approval processes. AI should handle all the structured, rule-based work so humans can focus on the stuff that requires judgment, creativity, and instinct. For example, in the medical field, diagnosis is partly pattern matching against known symptoms and conditions. That's something AI can help with by searching through millions of similar cases instantly, but deciding how to talk to a scared patient or weighing quality of life against treatment options, that's something which still needs human judgment. AI should free up doctors to spend more time on the human parts of medicine instead of drowning in charts and paperwork. Drug discovery is another place where AI eliminates the mechanical work. Testing whether a molecule will bind to a protein receptor is just chemistry and physics. You can simulate that, but deciding which diseases to prioritize or how to design a clinical trial, those need humans' insights about what matters and why. Jeff is describing a fundamental shift in what humans are for. For the last 100 years, a huge portion of the economy has been about humans doing information processing that follows known rules. We call it white-collar work and act like it's all sophisticated. I've done it myself before, but a lot of it is just checking whether reality matches documentation. AI is about to eliminate that entire category of work. The question is, what do humans do instead? Jeff's answer is clear. We should be wandering, inventing, and making judgment calls that require intuition. The building permit joke is him saying we're wasting human potential by making people check compliance boxes when software could do it instantly. Every hour a person spends on mechanical information processing is an hour they're not spending figuring out what nobody has thought of yet. One of our clients started with 0 audience. Now they're doing $100,000 months thanks to YouTube. And they're not alone. We've helped 3 businesses hit that level just by growing them a YouTube channel. Want to see how this could work for your business? Book a call with me below.